What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys the long-awaited Should You Buy Modern Warfare 3 video. I do one of these videos annually, a little bit after the game drops. I don't want to drop it like right away, just because like I want to see, past the honeymoon phase and into like a little bit of season 1 at least to see like what kind of updates they're willing to provide for us. But yeah, if you missed the previous videos, I did one for Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops Cold War, Vanguard, and I believe Modern Warfare 2019 as well. So go check those out if you missed them. Maybe I'll create like a separate playlist for those as well. But yeah, let's get into the multiplayer. I have a quick note on the campaign before I get started, but also before I get entirely started, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I am a Call of Duty commentator. If you're new to the channel, I do basically commentaries on whatever pressing issues there are in the world of Call of Duty and give my opinion. I'm very, I would say, fair and just. I'm not leaning towards one side of always hating or always supporting Call of Duty, so hopefully you can trust that, support that, and yeah, let's enjoy the video together. I don't have a whole lot to say about the campaign. From what I've heard, I have not played it, but from what I've heard, the campaign sucks, and this video is probably longer than the campaign. All right, now let's get into multiplayer. So I want to break this down into the pros and cons. There's surprisingly a lot of pros. However, the few cons that there are really detrimental to this game and really take away points on whether or not I want to support and encourage people picking up this Call of Duty title this year. So first thing up, let's talk about what the multiplayer has to offer. We have 16 maps at launch. All of them are returning from Modern Warfare 2, 2009, the OG Modern Warfare 2. This is, some people say this is a good thing. Some people say this is a bad thing. Personally, I'm always good with more content, right? The last time we got 16 maps at launch was also a Sledgehammer game, which was Call of Duty Vanguard, which, to be fair, a lot of people didn't really love, but content-wise, nobody could say anything, right? We had ample amount of content. We had enough content to basically last us for a while. So I'm not going to come out here and say like, oh, Vanguard was missing content or this game is missing content. You could say that this game is lazy, but you can't say there's no content in this game. That's what I would say. We also have 37 weapons at launch with, I believe it is 77 weapons coming from the Modern Warfare 2, the previous game, Modern Warfare Roman numeral 2, carrying over, which is cool. Let's talk about that. In my opinion, the Modern Warfare 2 integration is a positive thing. This is extra content at no cost. Some people are going to say like, okay, why do we need this? Why do we need Shoot House? Why do we need all these maps, Farm 18 and stuff like that? Why do we need this in the next game? We just played the last game, right? To that, I would say if you owned the previous game, there is no detriment to having that stuff be like added into this game, right? Things still work in this game. You have your bundles, you have your cosmetics, you have your camos even, and obviously your weapons carrying over from the previous title. So what is there to be really, bothered by other than like, let's say you got this game day one for Christmas, you'd probably be facing, a lot of people with fully kitted out weapons. And, that would be, granted a little annoying. However, based on, I believe it is exclusive Aces testing, a lot of the Modern Warfare 2 weapons don't hit nearly as hard as the new Modern Warfare 3 weapons, which makes sense because Sledgehammer Games would want Modern Warfare 3 weapons to hit harder in order to basically incentivize people to use those guns instead of the guns they just used last year. But that's basically what we have at launch, just so you guys get a feel for what we're working with. Let's talk about some of the more in-depth positives that I see. So first off are the graphics. They're relatively the same. I don't know if I'd say it's a positive. It's not really a step up over the last game. However, I will say the game seems to run better than last year. There are less glitches. There are less crashes. There's less UI bugs. Yes, the UI is still this Hulu mess that we have from last year. It's the same. I don't know why we're trying to keep that going. Nobody's on top of it. Nobody's on board with it, but they like it, so I guess we have to run with it. Yeah, as I was saying, like the game seems to run better. It's not perfect by any means. There's still huge issues like packet burst and things like that, and I'll get to that in the cons section. But going along with pros, the graphics are fine. It's definitely a step up over the beta. I remember from the Modern Warfare 3 beta, a lot of people were having issues with visibility. People's name tags were not showing up over their names. And so basically you couldn't tell if someone was prone. If someone was like in a dark corner, you couldn't tell if they were alive. There was a lot of issues in that way. But fortunately, Sledgehammer Games was listening to the community and they did fix things up a little bit. Specifically about the multiplayer, my personal thoughts. I think that it's good. I think the time to kill is solid. I think overall the maps are good. I really like the fact that movement encourages rushing gameplay. This game is very sped up in comparison to its predecessor of Modern Warfare 2. What do I mean by that? Basically, ADS speeds, sprint out speeds, things like that. It's very built for you to have a chance if you are snuck up on by a camper, if you are snuck up on by someone who is sitting in a dark corner, right? Like, you have a chance because your ADS and your sprint out speed are fast enough that while you're running, it doesn't take half a year to ADS and bring up your gun, because by that time you're already dead by the dude in the corner, which is very similar to what happened in Modern Warfare 2. So this game is definitely better in that aspect, okay? I think movement speeds overall feel faster as well. I kind of get that vibe from Sledgehammer Games, titles. It just feels like they're way faster than Modern Warfare 2 and like Infinity Ward titles. Basically saying, I don't really like Infinity Ward titles, we'll put it that way. But yeah, the movement is good. There is the dolphin dive, the slide, bunny hopping is back to a degree, jump shotting is a big thing. There's like different things you can do that are obviously very annoying if you get killed by someone doing that stuff. But if you are doing that stuff, it does give you a quote unquote advantage. So I'm all on board with that. As far as things to do in this game, the camo grind, it's actually fun and it's actually doable. Very, very few times in Call of Duty history are they very fun and very doable. I wouldn't say this game is very fun, but it's fun and it is doable. A lot of the challenges consist of getting 50 headshots, or not even 50 headshots, getting like 10 headshots and then getting like 50 kills while ADS, getting like 10 hipfire kills. They're very quick, they're very like simple, get a few double kills, things like that. There's nothing super time consuming like get a million long shots on a weapon or get a hipfire kill with an LMG, like things that just don't make any sense, right? And so I think because of that, a lot of people are going for the camo grind this year, the mastery camo, which is called Interstellar. A lot of people are going for the Interstellar camo grind this year, even though they aren't like camo people. They aren't people who normally go for the camo. And so I think they did a good job with that. If you incentivize someone to go for something that they normally wouldn't, I think you did a good job because you're selling the game off in a way that is more appealing than otherwise anticipated. And speaking alongside that, I think the camos look nice, right? I think the art team did a good job, even outside of the mastery camos. A lot of the base camos, they're colorful, they're shiny. Not a lot of them are animated, but a lot of them, like they're striped, they're dots. There's different cool, unique designs, very colorful, very splashy, very punchy. Even if you go in for the Interstellar camo, if you hit a certain camo that you really like, you could just stick with that, and a lot of them are pretty good looking. Along with some other things to do, weekly challenges. This is a cool new system where you can do, like I says, weekly challenges that are not super annoying, that are not super tedious. Maybe they're like slightly annoying, like get 50 hipfire kills using a certain conversion kit or something like that. Get some kills while stunned or get kills while stunning someone, that kind of stuff. It's a slightly annoying, but these weekly challenges provide cool actual rewards. And that's something that I've been, really complaining about, really wanting in my previous Call of Duty games, because it always seemed like once you get the mastery camo, there's not a whole lot else to do. You either go play the other mode like zombies or Warzone or something like that, or ground war. Multiplayer is kind of just like left in the wayside, but at least this time it feels like they are supporting multiplayer to a degree. It does feel that way. And speaking alongside that, it really feels like someone actually tried to make a fun Call of Duty game for the players this year. They didn't try to make it for the development studio themselves. They didn't try to make it in their own image. They are really actively, listening to the community. There are constant playlist updates, constant gun tweaks. As soon as something goes wrong in multiplayer and in Warzone, there's a Trello post about it. There's a Warzone update, a Call of Duty update tweet within a day about it. Very few things are left super, I guess, bothered, right? Like for instance, remember the FMG9s from Modern Warfare 3, the OG. That was clearly overpowered, clearly broken, and they would not do anything about that all for months, maybe the whole year. I don't know. I don't remember if they actually touched those weapons, but This time, yeah, developers seem to actually be listening. Developers are on top of it. Like as soon as a gun seems like a little too overpowered, they nerf it, which I don't really like. I kind of wish they'd buff other guns to make everything else more competitive, but I kind of get like it's simpler to just nerf one thing than to buff like 30 things, so I get that. But yeah, it feels like the developers are really listening. It feels like they want to make this good game. Speaking alongside that, DLC integration so far, the first DLC update of Season 1 brought us 3 maps. We've gotten 2 so far in Meat and Grease, both of which are decent. A lot of people like Meat and a lot of people dislike Grease, but I guess that's fair. It's kind of a bigger map. And we've also gotten a solid handful of weapons and game modes along with that, as long as 2 streaks too, the EMP and the Swarm. I'm just going to come out and say it. Season 1 was pretty successful just on paper. In reality, I think it still leaves a little bit to be desired, but I think on paper it is a pretty good season in terms of Call of Duty, and I think they're honestly on the right track with this. They're honestly doing a good job so far, and that's kind of it for the pros and multiplayer. But honestly, that was kind of a longer section than I care to admit. I don't mind this game, just straight off the bat. I think there are issues, but as you can tell here, there's a lot of pros as well. So now let's get into the cons. Real quick, if you haven't already, a reminder to please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and definitely leave a comment if you haven't already on what you think Modern Warfare 3 is worth if you have bought it already, and if you're on the fence about buying it, let me know if you're going to buy it or not buy it based on this video. I'd appreciate that. But yeah, with all that being said, let's get into the cons. The first con up that I want to talk about is the packet burst. This is basically saying lag. The servers are not always stable in this title. It's very unfortunate, but it is a thing. It is a real case by case basis. Some people struggle with packet burst no matter what. Some people struggle with packet burst only when playing with certain people. I guess that makes sense if you're playing like across the country or across different countries, but yeah, for the most part, packet burst does happen. Me personally, it doesn't happen as much as other people, and it's not as bad. If it's like a super bad connection, I literally just back out. I really don't care, and it usually fixes itself. That's usually the best thing I would recommend if that happens to you. But yeah, packet burst is a real thing. I did want to cover it. Next thing up I want to cover is the fact that there's no prestige system. This is a fan favorite mode that they've brought back a lot of fan favorite modes, like a lot of the fan favorite things, like for instance movement, slide canceling, things like that, map voting. But they still won't bring back a prestige system. They still won't bring back a lobby leaderboard. Just some of the OG classic things that we had in all of our older Call of Duty games that for some reason they don't want to have in this game. I really don't know why they don't want to have a prestige system, but basically we have this weird system where you hit level 55, everyone hits it within like a week, and everyone's just sitting there not getting XP. Then when the first season drops, you go up to like 250 or 255. Then when people eventually get there, or someone gets there in a day because some people have no life, basically you sit there for like an entire season and you do nothing. I don't know. I just feel like it just makes a lot of sense to just have different prestiges. At least have different prestige icons so you can tell like how much someone played, and it's something just to reward people who grind more, people who don't want to touch grass. It's just an easier way to keep track of how much grass you're not touching, I guess. But I don't understand why you wouldn't put that in. If anything, people would want to prove that they touch less grass and they play this game more, and they'd want to have a higher prestige than their friend who maybe doesn't touch as much grass, or touches more grass, I guess. And you basically would want to prove to them, hey, I'm better than you because I play the game more. Or you'd be more afraid of like a 15th prestige versus like a second prestige. But in this game, there is none of that, right? They don't want to differentiate that. So I don't know what that's about. I had to talk about it. I talk about this all the time on this channel if you're a subscriber of mine. But skill-based matchmaking, EOMM matchmaking, engagement optimized matchmaking. Basically, this game will do whatever it takes to match you with the most close to you skill level as possible. So if you're a 1 KD player, they're going to hover the lobby around then. If you're a 3 KD player, they're going to hover the lobby around that KD. So people will reverse boost. People will experience, poor and bad connections. People will not have fun with this game purely because of skill-based matchmaking. Sometimes the game will give you a bone, every like 2 out of like 10 or 11 games. The game will just be like, hey, here's an easy lobby. Here's a lobby full of people half your KD, and you're going to feel like it's great. You're going to feel like this game is super fun. But, those other like 70, 80% of the time, you're going to be hitting some hard competition. You're going to be facing some people who are not, maybe they had acne, maybe they got some problems in life. I don't know. You're going to face some people like that. I really don't want to harp on this situation longer than I need to, but I will say that Activision has addressed skill-based matchmaking. They addressed it, and they will drop more details about the matchmaking system in Season 1, probably in the mid-season update or something like that. They had talked about this, and they said they will talk about this, so we have them at their word that this is something that they are, actively, talking about and things like that. So yeah, we'll see what happens then. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and when that comes out, I'll definitely drop the news and my thoughts on that. A more specific problem about this game is the armory unlock system. It just didn't need to be in the game. It's not as bad as everyone's making out to be, like, oh my god, this is such a waste of time. I gotta win games to unlock things. I don't have a problem with that necessarily. I do think that this is just a far slower and far tedious way of getting people to play this game. I get that they want to do this. They want to encourage people to do daily challenges, which basically is how you have this unlock system work. You win games, or you complete daily challenges, like, get 2 kills with a Semtex or something like that. You do these like quick little things, and then you get like a point, and then when you hit like 8 points, for instance, you unlock a streak you want, and you hit 5 points, you unlock a weapon you really want. Things like that. I get that, but at the same time, I think that if you had a prestige system just built in, you could just be like, hey, you could, unlock what you want quicker, or if you hit a certain prestige, then you get, I don't know, 20 tokens, and you can spend them however you want. It's just like, there should be a faster way to do this if you play the game more, or if you just not reliant on like per day challenges or things like that, or per wins, right? Like it should be a little faster than it is. But personally, I don't mind the idea of the system. I just think it's too slow of a system. 2 other things that don't really affect me too much, but they do affect a large portion of the population, so I want to cover them as well. First off is the microtransaction prices. They are definitely still outrageous for this paid game. Black Cell is still $30. For those of you who don't know, this game, Modern Warfare 3, is entirely worth $70, and so you're paying $30 on top of that $70 for some extra content. Granted, the art skins and camos things, the operator skins, they do look good. All right, they do look good. They do look like it would be annoying to get killed by someone wearing them, but is it really worth $30? Like, I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You gotta really like this game. You gotta really pour a lot of time into this game, and I don't know if I'm there yet. I talked about it in the past. I don't know if I'm there yet. I'm considering it, but we'll see. We'll see. Other than that, the bundle prices are super high as well. Like, we're looking at like minimum like $14 to $16 for a bundle. Most of them ranging between 20 and like 28 bucks. So it's very expensive, to pick up anything you really want in this game. The other thing I want to talk about that doesn't really affect me too much is there's a cheating and hacking problem. I think it's more so in Warzone, but it still is in multiplayer as well. People have Cronuses, people have aim trackers, people have wall hacks. People are still bypassing this ricochet anti-cheat system and basically ruining people's experiences. I definitely think this is happening more so in the higher KD lobbies. For those of you who haven't guessed based on the gameplay by now, I'm not a super highly skilled Call of Duty player. I'm kind of an average Joe, maybe slightly above average, but I am not a good player by many means. So yeah, it hasn't affected me yet, but I did want to cover this. One last complaint that I wanted to cover is a lot of people are asking if this game is just a DLC. Is Modern Warfare 3 just a DLC to Modern Warfare 2? I would say partially yes. It definitely feels like it on paper, but also no, in terms of the fact that the game, like for all the things I said in the past, like the movement and everything like that, it feels faster. It feels like a different game. Sure, it looks the same. Sure, it sounds kind of similar, but it just feels like a different game. It feels faster. It feels like someone cared about this, right? It feels like you can actually run and gun in it. And for that reason alone, I wouldn't say it's a DLC. I would still say it's a separate game. It still looks, even though it looks and sounds very similar, it still is a separate game, just on movement and time to kill and things like that alone. That's basically it for the cons and pros for multiplayer. Very quickly, I'll talk about zombies again very quickly. I'm not a zombies player. I played it like a few times. I just don't have much interest in it, but based on some of the reviews and based on some, feedback from a few friends, the zombies experience is basically, it's a new experience. They utilized DMZ from the past and they made it kind of fun on a Warzone map. It's an open world, there's contracts, there's zone tiers, and honestly the zombie camo borealis, like the mastery camo, it looks very good. It looks very nice. They did a good job with it. The cons, I would say that there's no round-based mode alongside this open world mode. It could be coming in the future, but at launch it's a little stagnant, I guess. There's not a whole lot support for zombies just yet. Again, we're probably going to get stuff soon, maybe in like season 2, I'm going to guess. But if you enjoy zombies, like a regular traditional zombies, you may not like this, but if you're open to something new, this zombies experience definitely could be something that you're looking for. So what do I think of Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer? Or what do I think of Modern Warfare 3, I guess, as a whole? I think it's honestly a good game. However, I would buy this at a discount. I don't think I would pay $70 for this. Honestly, I would range between like $30 to $45. It's probably worth it. If you can get it around that price, it's probably worth it. I will say, however, if you are a true Call of Duty fan, you have already bought this game. If you're kind of someone who's on the fence about this, which is kind of what this video, or like who this video was more so made for, I would wait for it to go on sale. If you're kind of on the fence about it, if you're only going to play a campaign, if you're only going to play zombies, or if you're like kind of like you play multiplayer here and there, but not super much, yeah, I would wait for a discount. At least, I would say like 40 to 60% off if you can get it somewhere there. If you have a gift card or something like that for Battle.net, I don't know. I would consider it. It's not a terrible game by any means. Like, just to give you context, I'm pretty sure Modern Warfare 2, the last game, I would not recommend, even for like 10, 15 bucks. It was just not an experience for me. This is a decent experience for me, and I do have fun with this game. And so I would recommend it. I would recommend it at that price that I just said. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It took a long time to make. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and definitely leave a comment on what you think about it. And thanks so much for watching. Yeah, with all that being said, hope you guys have a great rest of the day. And let me know if you guys are buying it or not buying it based on this video. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great one. Peace, and peace.